Hey everybody, welcome back to our Labyrinth playthrough. We are up to turn 2, well hand 2, however you want to term, whatever you want to call these rounds or whatever. The action phases make up a round. We have new hands. This is our second time of getting new hands. So I've shuffled the Jihadist deck. They got 8 cells, or 8 cards, excuse me, because their Jihadist funding is all the way down to 6. The U.S. has troops in low intensity, so it got 9 cards. It also held a card from last round. So the U.S. actually has 10 cards. The Jihadist has 8. Let's look through our U.S. hand right now. I'll arrange these, put them in some kind of order to make sense. All right, so the U.S. has Ethiopia Strikes, which is our holdover card from the last round. Predator. Kemalist Republic. Intel Community. King Abdullah. Those are the U.S. cards. The U.S. has 5 cards. Foreign Fighters, which is a jihadi card. XKGB is another jihadi card. Taliban, which is the 3rd jihadi card that we have. For unaffiliated, we have Kosovo and Saleh. All right, so that looks pretty good. That's a lot of U.S. events. Foreign Fighters, the Jihadist card is play if a country has a regime change. It doesn't. We could play that. If CTR markers in Russia, remove it. So the XKGB could be played. Taliban, place besieged regime in Afghanistan and a cell there, each there and in Pakistan. That one's pretty horrible. Can you put a besieged regime in an Islamist rule? I don't think you can. I don't know what the point would be. I guess you could. Would it matter? If the U.S. does a regime change, it'll get rid of it anyway. I guess you would. I guess it just probably wouldn't come back to bite you in the ass or anything. It wouldn't really do anything. It would just be fulfilling the event text. Anything else interesting? Remove a cell from a Muslim country, not Iran. That would be good for Somalia to use the Predator. All right, well, the U.S. has a pretty good hand, I think. We can get some stuff done this turn. Unfortunately, it's the Jihadist turn first, so let's get to it. I'm going to try to move a little bit faster, I think. The first video is probably going to be around 45 minutes, so I'm going to move a little bit faster, do a little bit less explaining of what I'm doing. You guys have any questions, leave comments below, all that stuff. So let's get to it, Jack. Jihadist, first card play. Sistani. The card is Sistani. It's a U.S. event. Play if a Shia mixed regime change country has a cell and you improve governance. So we look at our handy-dandy flowchart. Playable non-U.S. events? No. Playable U.S. events? Shia mix regime change country has a cell. Shia mix are the green, dark green. So, regime change. So no, this is not playable. Regime change country. There are no regime changes. So playable U.S. event, no. Major jihad success possible. Yes, major jihad is possible in Somalia, unfortunately. So we're going to go through that. Where's their thing? Major jihad. You do it to establish Islamist rule. Non-Islamist rule countries with 5 more cells than troops. They have 5 cells or no troops. All cells in the target country go active, and you go through it like minor jihad, except you need 2 successes or 1 success if there's a besieged regime. There is a besieged regime. So I'm going to flip over all of these cells. So all those cells are active. We now go through this as if it was a major jihad, or minor jihad, sorry. So they roll 3 dice because they have 3 ops. And they only need 1 success. So they need 1 dice to be a 3 or less. They got 2, so that worked. Governance from 1 success with the besieged regime. They got 2 anyway. Governance from poor to Islamist rule. Alignment goes to adversary. Remove all regime change or besieged regime and aid markers. Add resources to funding. So this marker goes away. The funding went up. because Somalia only has one resource. If troops prestige to 0, there are no troops there. So it's actually good that we didn't put anybody in there because that would have been terrible. And now we have our Somalia card, the US does, to fix that. And that'll be good. Okay, so do we do anything else here? We add Islamist resources. Good or poor Islamist countries did not shift. It just stays the same right there. And that is their first card. And I think we've done everything. One cell did fail. He rolled a 5. So he would go back to his track. So the failure caused one of the cells to disappear. He's going to go over there. I think that's everything. We did the success. Governance went to port Islamist rule. Alignment to adversary. Removed the markers. Added the resources to funding. There were no troops. Major failure is if 3 rolls at poor fail to shift a country to Islamist rule, you shift a 1 box towards ally and place a besieged regime marker. That didn't work out though. Alright, so that's their first card. I'll keep it right there for tracking. Mossad and Shin Bet. Play if any cells in Israel, Jordan, or Lebanon. There is. So it's a playable US event. Playable non-US event? No. Playable US event? Yes, it is. They plot with it. And they're going to plot as much as possible in the US. No. Then prestige low. No. Troops in the Philippines. No. Countries with troops. There are no cells in countries with troops. Then GWAT penalty greater than 0. No. In countries with the US posture. No. Then countries with aid. No. Funding equals 9. No. In non-Muslim, then Muslim or Iran. In non... And the priority, obviously, would be fair, then good, then poor. Because we are using ops. So fair, then good, then poor. So this is the only guy that he can actually do it. They're kind of screwed there. So he has 1 cell. He's going to go active and try to plot. He rolled a 2, so that actually did work out for him. With the plots. Non-Islamist rule countries, each roll in the target country, 1 cell there must go or already be active. The success places 1 available plot marker face down, either WMD or plot number of the card's ops value or less. I don't think it... Does it matter? No, I think that's the thing. I think in the solo game, you can't look at the plot numbers. That wouldn't make any sense. So I think I'm just going to roll a dice to determine what it is. It'll be... I'll just put them out like that. I'll roll... It'll be a 1 to a 6, and I'll take whatever the dice roll is. So 1. I rolled a 1, so I'm going to take the first one. And it goes into Jordan. All right, so that's that. They have 2 ops. That was 1 op. So with their second op, they're going to radicalize. They're going to do the place a cell thing. Tan 1, black 6. Tan 1, black 6. Black 6, tan 1 is Iran. So that cell goes to Iran, just like that. And that's the jihadist turn. All right, so let's go through the US's turn. The US is probably going to want to get rid of that plot. Do I have anything that gets rid of a plot? +1 prestige. No. Jordan to fair ally. Oh, that would be nice. Inspect jihadist hand. No. Turkey remove a cell. No. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have to do the alert thing. Block a plot. You need to use a 3 ops card to do that. I'm going to use Saleh as the ops to block that plot. So I play that card. Plot goes away. It was a 2. Mix them up a little bit. I don't remember where that went, so that's gone. That cell's out there. That was the US's first turn. US's sex turn. Game's getting exciting. The US's next turn is going to be Ethiopia Strikes. We played this pretty well. We held on to this card, Ethiopia Strikes. And you play if Somalia or Sudan. I had a brief panic attack there. I thought I misread the countries and we were not in Somalia. Somalia Sudan is under Islamist rule. You set it to poor neutral. So we're going to play that event. Poor neutral. So Islamist resources go back down. That stays the same. They lost that cell, which will stop them from being able to shift it back. And that's pretty much it for the US's turn right there, which is good. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully the jihadists almost get stupid events or something that'll stop them from being able to do anything. Jihadist turn. Oh, we got rid of the plot, so we don't resolve anything. Goes back to the jihadist turn. Al-Anbar. Place a cell in Iraq. Disrupt in Iraq or Syria. Affects one cell only. This event would happen, right? Just because it blocks US bin Laden and Zawahiri. Blocked by Anbar Awakening. Place. They just can't do the whole thing. There's no prerequisite. Okay, so they're going to play this event. Al-Anbar. So you put the little marker down. What it does is disrupt in Iraq or Syria affects one cell only, not cadre. Blocks US bin Laden and Zawahiri, blocked by Anbar Awakening. It's actually a pretty good card for them. It's one of those cards you don't really ever want to play when you're playing against the game because, or playing the game with someone else because the event text doesn't impact you right away, but it's good for down the line. So that's their first card. The next card is Martyrdom Operation. Play if a non-Islamist rule country has a cell. Oh boy, replace the cell with any two available plot markers. Non-Islamist rule country. So it could be those. So it could be either Iran, Somalia, or Jordan. So we'll roll. So this will be 1. Jordan will be 1-2. Iran will be 3-4. Somalia 5-6. 5-6. So that is Somalia. You play if a non-Islamist rule country has a cell. You replace the cell with any two available plot markers. We'll roll the 2 dice. I rolled double 4, so I'm going to roll the next one. Well, actually, I'll take the 4. Yeah, I took the 4, and that made the 5 the next 4 that I took, so I'll just consider that to be the way they do that. All right, and that's it for those guys. So the jihadist turn is done. The US, unfortunately, is in a bad position with these 2 plot markers. It'll take either 2 3-op cards to stop it. Let me see what actually happens with unblocked plots in a Muslim country or Iran. +1 to funding, or +2 funding if the country's at good. If the country has troops, you lose prestige. If Muslim, roll a number of dice equal to the plot's number and it worsens governance and removes aid. So they can't worsen the governance in Somalia. So the best they're going to get is 2 funding, which will put them at 9 funding, which is obnoxious, but I don't feel like the US really wants to deal with that right now. What does the US want to do? The US would love to I think the US is going to play King Abdullah, which is this guy right here. King Abdullah, set Jordan to fair ally, +1 prestige, -1 funding. So prestige is back up to 7. Funding went down. I was confused there for a second. I think that their funding is going to go up, so that's fine for now. And Jordan becomes a fair ally. Which is good. We can move troops in there to get rid of that little cell. I don't know if that's the best thing to do. Probably not at this point. Or you can disrupt in a fair country, can't you? You don't even need troops in there. Did I fuck that up before? I probably did. In Somalia. Was Somalia ever an ally? I can't remember. Anyway, so King Abdullah is our first play. The second US play is going to be Foreign Fighters, I believe. Play if a country has a regime change. They don't have a regime change. I'd love to shift Somalia to an ally and just get rid of that thing. So I'm going to try to do that. Let's see. What is the War of Ideas? War of Ideas. Is tempting shift to good? No. Jihad relationship penalty. Prestige is +1. Aid marker. So we're +1 to our dice. Where our dice roll is going to be 2, so it's a 3, so nothing happens. Not super lucky. I've been like 50-50, I suppose. So that's the US turn. Those two are done. So now we're resolving plots. Muslim country, +1 funding for each, so that's +2. Country has troops. No, it doesn't. If Muslim, not Iran, roll number, dice equal to plot number. Roll reduces country's governance toward poor, but not to Islamist rule, and reduces 1 aid. So that doesn't happen because they're already at poor. So these are just going to go back into the plot bin. So it wasn't the most efficient plotting. They got funding out of it, which I think they needed at that point, but that wasn't too bad. I think the US can afford to let some plots go off like that. But now we're back to the jihadist card play. Libyan deal. Play if Iraq or Syria an ally and Libya poor. Iraq and Syria are neither allies. Libya is poor, so we can't play this. So it's a non-playable. Playable US event? No. Playable US event? No. Major jihad success possible? No. Jihad possible in good or fair? Yes, it's possible in Jordan. So they're going to do that. Jordan. So the 1 die. Jordan needs to roll a 2. They rolled a 5. So the failed jihad causes the... Failed jihad causes the cell to go back. Nothing else happens. Jordan is alone by itself. They have 2 ops remaining because they only had 1 cell that would do that, so they're going to do the radicalization. They place a cell. Brown 6, black 2. Brown 6, black 2 is Indonesia. Okay? So cell goes to Indonesia, which is down there. We're going to roll for the posture. Or governance, rather. It was a 1. So it becomes a poor neutral country. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I not change Jordan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good and fair is 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Good resources are there. Islamist resources are there. Yep, that makes sense. Makes sense to me. And that was the... Excuse me. That was the first op. The second op is going to automatically travel from the flowchart. So to a besieged regime, which is gone, so they don't have any of that. Regime change, then aid. They don't have any of those. So a poor country where major jihad possible of +2 cells. So they go to Somalia anyway. Radicalization starts there. Does that always happen? 943. I'd have to look at that. I'm looking at the rule charts, and it just has a little thing about 943 radicalization. Starting at the second 2 box. Oh. So we might have fucked that up before. Somalia might not be... If we moved cells via radicalization to Somalia, because it had a besieged regime marker, that might not have been what we were supposed to do. Oh well, so we'll live and learn. So go back and fix that. To a poor country where major jihad possible with +2 cells, so they do go to Somalia, and they'd come from Afghanistan. It automatically succeeds. So Somalia getting close again to a bad time, which is extremely unfortunate for the US at this point. Okay, that's their first card. They did jihad failed. They placed a cell in Indonesia. They traveled to Somalia. Second card. Hits ut Tahrir. Playable, a non-US event. If troops in overstretch, if troops at low intensity, it is playable. -2 funding. Event recruits or places cells. No, you play the event. Okay, so troops are at low. This is the kind of thing where it comes back to bite the jihadist in the ass. Troops are at low intensity, so you get -2 funding. The card is Hits ut Tahrir. So that bumped them out of that again, which is too bad for them. And then they just play the event anyway. Major jihad possible? No. Jihad possible in good or fair? No. Cells available? No, because they're funding. So they just travel. So travel to besieged regime change because they're not in radicalization. There's none of that. A poor country where major jihad possible +2 cells, and they're coming from Islamist rule with cells are greater than the ops. So they're traveling from Afghanistan to Somalia. They need a 3 or less. They rolled a 3. They rolled a 3. Somalia continues to be a thorn in the U.S.'s side. Okay, that's the jihadist play. U.S.'s turn. The U.S. would love for Somalia. I can use Predator to remove a cell from a Muslim country. Might be good. Turkey to a fair ally. Is that useful to me? No, not really. I am going to... I think we're going to play Predator to remove a cell from a Muslim country. So that's Predator. This is the first U.S. action. Bump them out of there. With our second action... I need Somalia. I don't have any 3 ops cards left. I have 1, and it's the Taliban one. Place a besieged regime in Afghanistan and a cell each there, and in Pakistan, -1 prestige. Or -3 if either at Islamist rule. Okay, that is unacceptable to play. What's best for the U.S. here? The U.S. wants to maybe shift Pakistan or Jordan. Jordan would be good, I think. Or Pakistan. Both are pretty good. Because they would influence the Saudi Arabia and maybe Jordan. I think I'll do... Well, Pakistan's easier. Maybe I should be smart and do Pakistan. So I'm going to do Intel Community. Intel Community is going to be the second U.S. card play. I'm going to use it for ops to roll a War of Ideas in Pakistan. And the War of Ideas, attempting shift to good. No, we're trying to shift its alignment. GY penalty, no. Prestige is, yep, +1. Aid marker, no. Adjacent good ally, yes. Gulf states. So we're +2 to our dice roll. Rolled a 4, it becomes a 6, so it's a success. All right, Pakistan is now a fair ally, which is helpful. If any cells go in there, we'll be able to get rid of them. So that's the U.S.'s turn. There are no plots to resolve, so we're down to the final 2 cards for jihadists. Bin Laden. Bin Laden. It's a pretty important card here. Playable non-US event, yes. Event places or recruits cells, no. Play the event. Jihadist play. US has a prerequisite, but this is the jihadist playing it. If jihadists play, -2 prestige or -4 for any Islamist rule. So -4 prestige, which is terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're down to low, which is unacceptable, quite frankly. And then they get to do their operations with it. Unassociated event, yes. So major jihad success possible? No. Jihad possible in good or fair? No. Cells available? Yes. So they're going to recruit. No, they can't because they don't have the funding. So no. So they're going to travel. And they're traveling to regime change? No. Poor country where major jihad possible? Yes. So Somalia is one destination. And then good or fair Muslim country with cell adjacent. Yeah, which would be travel to priorities would be Pakistan. Okay, so one's going to go from Afghanistan to Pakistan. The other one is going to go to Somalia from Afghanistan as well. So this is... that one succeeds automatically, Pakistan, because it's adjacent. That one trying to go to Somalia needs to be rolled, so I'll roll that now. They rolled a 3, so it works. So both of those cells traveled, and they now have a remaining op point. And they can't do any more... Oh, they could do more travel, couldn't they? Let's say. Good or fair, then if U.S. hard, unmarked, non-Muslim... If the U.S. is hard, so unmarked non-Muslim. Can they do that? Can they move somewhere like that? They could. They could move to India. I think that's the only... Yes, because Pakistan already moved, so it would be Indonesia would move. And we roll for posture there. We rolled a 6, which makes... a country hard. You can see that on the little table. Posture 1 to 4 is soft, 5 to 6 is hard. India's hard, which shifts world hard 2. We now have Israel and India are hard, which is good. We need one more to get that bonus benefit. We'll see. Maybe the AI will help us out a little bit. So that's the Bin Laden card done. Moro Talks. It's a U.S. playable event. They plot with it. 1, anywhere. Plot as much as the U.S. No. Prestige low. Yes, prestige is low. GWAT penalty greater than 0. No. In countries with the U.S. posture. So they're going to plot in India. India. And they only have one... Yeah, they have one cell, one op, which is actually efficient. It worked out that way. So they plot. One cell must go active. And... it's like that. They need now to roll a 1. They rolled a 4. Okay, so nothing happens. That was not very good for them. It's always nice when the game has to plot in good countries. Hardly ever works, obviously. So those are done. We could now disrupt in India and get rid of that cell. And that would give us a little bit of prestige. We wouldn't have that prestige problem. The jihadists are out of cards as well. So the US has 4 cards that they want to figure out what to do with. We have XKGB, which has a special rule. XKGB is target Caucasus, if that would shift a world posture marker. So the card says, if CTR marker in Russia remove it, this is XKGB. We don't have that. If not, set Caucasus. Sorry, excuse me. Set it to opposite posture of the US. That would shift. So that's the one that we would play, I believe. I'm just checking the rule book right now if that's actually what happens. If that would shift the world posture marker, yes, it would. Okay, so that's what we would do. I don't know if that's good. Okay, so I think the first thing to do, we do want to fix Somalia. That would be nice. Or we can disrupt in India. Do we want to disrupt in India is the question. We don't get prestige from there. It would place a cadre. Is that worth it? We have Kosovo. It would gain us with prestige. We'd set Serbia the opposite of the U.S. posture, which is not particularly good. We could set Turkey to a fair ally. None of that is particularly interesting to me. I need to get troops. I could move troops into Pakistan, which might actually be useful. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to play Kemalist Republic. Well, actually, no. I'll play XKGB to get rid of that. So we'll do their event first. So Caucasus, or however you pronounce it, becomes soft. World Hard is now there. We're going to move troops from the Gulf states to Pakistan. And then what we're going to do is, what do we want to do? Do we want to disrupt in Pakistan? That would give us prestige. We're going to do that. We're going to play Kemalist Republic, disrupt in Pakistan. Because we have troops, we gain prestige from it, so we're out of the hellhole of low. And that's all they will do. I think that's maybe the best situation. Not too sure. That's the U.S. First turn. The jihadists don't have any cards left, so it's up to the U.S. about what they want to do. They're really just, they have these two cards. They have Taliban and Kosovo. They can play Kosovo for the op. And Taliban is just getting discarded. So Taliban is getting discarded as the second card. What do we want to do with Kosovo? We want to not play the event because they don't want to lose jihad relations. So with our one, we could either disrupt in India or we could disrupt in Pakistan. Probably Pakistan. We want to clear them out. So we're going to do that again. We're going to disrupt. Oh no, we need a 2. Oh boy. Oh boy. Cannot disrupt in Pakistan. We'll disrupt in India, I think. They're hard. India's hard. You disrupt. It affects 1 cell. If target country's posture is hard, it affects 2 cells. So that goes away. Result affected cells go active, or if already active or removed. If no cell, you remove a cadre. If the last cell is removed, you place a cadre. Alright, so there's a cadre in India, but we're not too concerned about that. We're going to discard the Taliban card because it is a horrific event. And that's it for that. Okay, so end of turn. No one has any cards left. There are no plots to resolve. Everything else is all set. So -1 to funding, -1 to prestige. We'd gain plus if the world were matching hard at 3. It's not, it's at 1. Remove lapsing events, reserves to 0, deal new hands, and regime change to 10. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button down below. It helps me out a great deal. As always, leave any comments, anything that I've done wrong. Let me know what I fucked up. I think I fucked up Somalia earlier on. It might have been on this video. It might have been the previous one. So someone should bring that up. And at this point, I think the U.S. is doing okay. We need to start making a little bit of headway. We need to either clear up Somalia or clear up Afghanistan. At this point, I'd rather focus on getting Somalia to an ally and just leave Afghanistan over there where it is. Maybe get Pakistan in good shape and then just slowly work from there. I'd like to limit what the game can actually do. And Somalia is looking like it's going to be a devastating problem. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time with turn 3. See ya.